Okay, so I'm gonna say welcome back to our first episode of the Oriental Scoop. I say welcome back because we spent the morning doing the first shoot, the first episode, and it went technically wrong. So we're
So
gonna
back to the introduction.
get back to the introduction. Yeah, we're gonna repeat everything. So hello everyone. We'd like to welcome you to our first ever podcast. It's called the Oriental Scoop. My name is Ali, and this year my bro here is called Mu'taz. He likes to go by the name of Mu'taz.
My boy, you can call me my boy.
Yeah, you can call him a boy. and so basically, we decided to do this podcast because we believe that we have certain a certain experience. Let's call it that, shall we?
Yeah.
Yeah, certain experiences in Lebanon, and it gives us a new, fresh perspective that other podcasts, certainly podcasts abroad, don't really show. Uh, we're both Lebanese, so we're gonna mainly be tackling issues related to Lebanon, and we'd mainly like to focus on social issues.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
case.
but we also, since we're both MDs, we're also gonna sometimes talk about medical issues, among others. Um,
Why we want to do this is because we mainly want to talk to people who are from the region, I think, because there are so many issues that we need to shed light on, and in the rapidly changing environment in Lebanon, which it has been the case for the past 4 years approximately. Many issues have been overlooked, and we feel that these issues deserve to be talked about because they're really, really forgotten. And so let's take it from here. So the first topic we want to talk about today, which I feel is very, very appropriate for an introductory first episode, is
uh,
called the Lebanese Dream.
Yeah, we're gonna call it the Lebanese Dream. It's modeled after the expression the American Dream. You know how the American Dream has always been to travel to the U.S. and
A dollar in a dream, basically. You go to
yeah,
the US, make something out of your life.
become
Just,
successful.
yeah.
Um, uh, the Lebanese Dream is quite similar, but the difference is we all want to leave Lebanon and find success outside of Lebanon.
That's the Lebanese dream. People just want to get out of here. And by the way, we are filming from Beirut, as you can see. Some solar panels because there's no electricity. We're filming right now without any power, by the way.
Yeah.
So, and skyscrapers that will never be finished. And what else? And
Perpetual building in motion.
yeah, we're always building here.
And I don't know if it's pretty obvious from the camera, but you can see the part of the Beirut port behind us, where the Beirut blast happened in August,
Hmm.
August 2020.
August 4, 2020.
Yeah,
Um,
a long time.
so let's get to it.
Yeah, so we're gonna start talking about the issue of why people want to leave Lebanon. Now, for us as MDs, since I think when we were in Med three, uh, for as long as we can remember, everyone used to talk about how we want to go abroad, how we want to finish our steps, finish everything that we have here in Lebanon, and start applying. If it's either for research or for residency outside, everyone wanted to leave.
And not just for the purpose of just like leaving completely. To be fair, some just want. Mainly, people here are geared towards the American system,
Yeah,
especially our
yeah,
university, because they want to get board certified. Everyone wants to get board certified, right? Not just because it's so prestigious, but also because it gives great mobility, right? With a board certification, you can work in almost, well, in many, many countries.
but this only applies to the medical field.
That's true.
However, other people also want to leave Lebanon, not just for the U.S. and Europe, also to the Gulf. Many people, especially consulting, nowadays it's very
It's
popular.
very popular,
Yeah,
especially, yeah, that's
everyone
true.
wants to go there. The pay is better, and it's basically and even the families they're pushing their children to leave basically. And the premise is people want to find success outside. They want to find a stable job, basically stability, not just economically, but maybe also like in terms of society, in terms of environmentally
Safety and,
safety.
yeah.
Um, yeah, everything that is kind of lacking here in Lebanon, people want to find outside, and it's becoming somewhat of a trend to kind of, I'm sorry to say this, shit on Lebanon. And I think you
Yeah,
can agree.
everyone just likes to focus on the very, very bad aspects of Lebanon without, without also giving enough insight on what's good here. People just want to overlook that and just focus on everything that's bad.
And Montez and I have been discussing this, and we realize that there is a pattern that we're seeing. Many of our colleagues that have left Lebanon, either to the EU or to the US or elsewhere, every single one of them tends to start missing Lebanon, tends to start saying that they want to come back, that they want to see their friends, their family, and it's not it's not basically the case of the grass is greener. Sorry, the grass is not greener on the other side. That's what I'm trying to say.
Not necessarily, yeah. Especially for people who have family here, they've been raised their whole lives with their families.
Yeah,
It's a bit different here. So how it works here is you stay living at your parents' house until you get married.
yeah.
You don't leave before that.
So basically, until your late 20s, early 30s, in some cases, it's completely normal for Lebanese people to stay with their parents, finish their masters, their PhD, or work for a bit until they're married. And then, as soon as they're married,
Suddenly they have to learn how to make the laundry,
yeah,
how to cook food,
yeah,
how to clean the house. It's so people get shocked from that as well. I think that plays a major role into why they feel so homesick, right? Not just because the sunset looks good.
yeah. Just imagine you one day decide that you want to leave the country, you apply for a job or whatever it is, or a master's or a PhD outside of Lebanon, and you leave, you're successful, you make it there, you enter your apartment, first thing you gotta do, organize your
Man, gotta
furniture,
make the bed, bro.
gotta make the bed, you gotta wake up, make your bed, you have to dedicate one day of the week at least for laundry, for cooking, for cleaning the house, taking out the trash, everything basically that none of us used to do here
Mm-hmm.
when we're living with our parents. Now we have to do them. And I'm speaking from experience because I spent around a year outside of Lebanon and then I spent another month outside of Lebanon. So these are things that you usually don't think about. I- they're we basically take them for granted when we're living here with our parents, and then suddenly we're forced into these like
Thrown into the wild,
stressful
basically.
situations. So this affects you, and of course the stress of leaving your friends behind, your family behind. The entire social circle has changed. The society has changed around you. So not everything that you say or do might be accepted outside. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's
Yeah,
one.
yeah, and the thing is, especially here in Lebanon, people have adapted to the tragedies that keep happening here by having a darker sense of humor.
Oh yeah,
That's how they cope with it.
yeah.
So just having a darker sense of humor to cope with really dark events, and that isn't so accepted abroad, but it really is here. I think everyone has a
Yeah. Wherever you go, I feel like
yeah.
everyone wants to crack a joke. Everyone wants to make fun at.
Even in the workplace, even in
Yeah.
a professional setting, people still make darker or
Yeah.
inappropriate jokes.
Yeah, but it's our way basically of coping with things, and then you go outside. Everyone is more careful.
More sensitive as well, and
Yeah.
I understand that like they come from a place of empathy that like they don't like these jokes because of how much empathy they feel to whoever is on the receiving end of that joke,
Because
right?
you might offend someone basically
Yeah,
with any
yeah,
kind of joke.
but here it's not the case.
Yeah.
you know
However, however, I think that even that is not enough for to drive someone to basically want to come back to Lebanon, right? I mean that
mm.
alone is not enough reason. Other reasons include, from what we've heard from our friends, is how people act, how people are. So we have different, let's say, expectations from people.
Yeah, yeah. And expectations from friends. So social interactions are, are very different, I'd say, right?
So I'll give the example of, let's say we're going out to a restaurant and I don't have enough money. I feel like my friends have have got me covered. It goes
It's not
without
even
saying.
that. You won't even have to mention it because
Yeah,
someone's gonna fight over the bill,
yeah,
and you
yeah.
won't even need to mention it. And there are many other things that are different here,
And
I
no one
feel.
would expect you to pay them back. That's also
Yeah,
important.
that's true.
So,
That's true.
so it's the small things basically, I think.
Yo, yo, and the interactions with family are entirely different. So it's as if you eternally owe your parents something, right?
Over here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think that's the case abroad.
Imagine someone putting their parents in retirement homes here in Lebanon.
Yeah, this is unheard of here. Putting your parent in a retire home.
Retirement home, yeah,
Retirement.
retire home. Honestly, that would be probably the worst thing that you can do in terms of like socially accepted things.
Yeah,
Like you're expected to take care, and everyone wants to take care of their families. Let's get
yeah,
this.
and your family wants to take care of you as well.
Yeah.
That's how it is here. Like, why would your parents tolerate you being in their house until you're 30?
So they
Yeah,
want you in their house.
yeah, yeah, they want you. It's not just that they tolerate; they actually want you around them.
So you go from this collectivist kind of society, and suddenly you're thrust into an individualistic society. And I don't think there's anything wrong with an individualistic society, but it's
Yeah,
about what you've been
yeah.
used to for quite a long
And I
period
think
of
one
time.
thing worth mentioning is in what you would call individualistic, people may have stronger friendship bonds just because the family ties aren't that strong.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Maybe no,
Yeah,
I don't think that applies to every single case.
for sure, for sure.
I mean, it never applies to every single case in anything,
That's true.
but it might tend to be like this, like you're saying that the friendships might be stronger, however the family ties might be a bit weaker.
Mhm.
But I'm not an expert. I mean, I don't live outside. So the pattern has been, or our friends would tell us all of these things and how the the societies abroad are quite different from here. And the reason we're doing this podcast is to talk about these negatives. I'm gonna call them negative. They're not negatives, but they're negatives for you and me, who have grown up in a society and have gotten used to something, and suddenly uh, they're thrust into this great change, and many people can't handle it.
Yeah.
Like
So,
we know people who have become depressed because of this massive change and massive move. And what I'm saying is, before you leave Lebanon, let's not glorify leaving Lebanon that much. It may be necessary in many cases to achieve stability and success, but I don't want to glorify leaving Lebanon and painting Lebanon as such an antagonist, huge antagonist, right?
can I play the devil's advocate?
Yeah, sure. Play the devil's advocate. Be my guest.
Now, I agree with what you said that many of our friends who left feel depressed, etc., etc. You know, but I think we can say this because we're coming from a place of privilege. Do you get me? Like, even though now there's no electricity as we're recording, and there are many basic
Oh,
necessities that are lacking, we get to say that Lebanon, like, we can say, okay, maybe look twice on them before you make a judgment about it, or before you talk so much crap about Lebanon. But we can only say that because we have the ability to go out. We have jobs, right?
yeah. That's
Many people
that's
here
true.
don't have jobs. Many people can't even afford gas. You know, for us, it's still somewhat livable. So we can say that to people, but I think many viewers would disagree.
What was the thing you were telling me earlier today about the life in Lebanon and how we live it? It's pay to something.
Pay to play.
Yeah.
That's how it works here. Pay to play.
Yeah.
You can get whatever you want if you have enough money for it. If you want to buy a section of the beach as well, if you're trying to build a resort and you want to buy a section of the beach, you can do that as well. You can it's pay to play. There is no rules, right? There are rules, of course, but all rules can be
Bent. Let's say that.
bent if you have enough money.
And influence, of
Yeah,
course.
that's true.
So Lebanon is a hard place to live in.
Hard place. The only people who have fun here are the people on the top.
Yeah.
If you're someone on the top, you'll have a good time in
But I mean,
Lebanon.
come on. Anyone who has money is living in a more.
Yes, I agree with you. Anywhere,
Yeah.
money makes life easier, but I think the standard of living, the disparity here is so wide, it's
Yeah.
shocking.
Yeah.
And what we were talking about earlier is, for example, you can have a good time here, but for let's say you're eating a sandwich and someone who's hungry is just watching you eat it, can you really enjoy your sandwich?
Yeah. So basically, you can't live in a country and with this huge disparity unless
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense.
you're on the end that's getting all the benefits.
Yeah, and this disparity doesn't this disparity doesn't just exist in going out, etc. It exists in healthcare as well. It exists in
Yeah. So
education.
you got money. You basically have everything that you need and even
Yeah, you
more.
can buy it. Whatever you need, you can buy it. You can get your healthcare. You can get your education.
So it's completely understandable why people would want to leave Lebanon for other countries and why they would hate it. What we're All this is basically summarized by the fact that I just don't want people to really glorify leaving Lebanon so
Yeah,
much.
that's what we
T-
want to say.
Yeah, I don't want people to think that leaving Lebanon is the solution to everything, where
Yeah,
they're suddenly gonna be super happy outside and
yeah.
super comfortable. There are other things in life other than the basic needs, electricity,
Water,
water, food,
transportation.
and the food is good here. I mean, yeah, the food is great, but there are things that are
Yeah,
more important.
people tend to have this delusion that the moment they set foot abroad, suddenly all their problems are gonna disappear, and that's really not the case, right?
It's actually quite the opposite. I think your problems are gonna increase a bit for a while until you settle down. You
That's
have
true.
your new social circle, your new life. You've got everything taken care of, and then maybe you can get used to things. However, let's talk about the other end of the stick, where people actually are more relieved to leave Lebanon.
Yeah,
And
yeah, we can talk about that. Um,
so some
s
individuals who feel maybe
yeah,
they don't belong here in
people
Lebanon.
who don't belong here simply because they really don't fit in, or they
Yeah.
can't handle this. What do they
Culture.
call it? What, there's one word for it. What's it called?
For what?
محسوبيات واسطة إنه there's a word for it in
Uh, Not nepotism. I don't know. I don't know the word.
nepotism. Yeah, but people who can't even be in a system, even if they can succeed, who can't be in a, they just can't uh, appreciate being in. I fucked it up.
Like, what you mean is people who don't have a means to survive in this
Not
country
just this, but people who can't stand to watch nepotism going on. That's what I
and
want to say.
corruption.
And corruption. People who just like me and you. I think to some extent we've adapted to it, even though it's very wrong. This is a topic for another time. That sometimes adapting is bad because when you adapt to low standards, to bad governments, you become very
Numb.
you become numb, and numbness and being passive is very bad. You can't build a country like this.
Yeah.
When you just see the wrong in front of you every day and you accept it, you won't get anywhere. You won't cause any change. So sometimes adapting is a bad thing, but that's a topic for a whole other time, I think.
Yeah, I agree. And how about the other people who want to leave Lebanon, the people who are marginalized here, who don't feel
Mm-hmm.
like they belong to this country, to the communities here. So, in short, we're talking about mainly people of the LGBTQ community,
Yeah.
people who feel like they're not socially accepted here in Lebanon. They cannot freely express themselves, and maybe these are the people that would benefit from leaving Lebanon to more liberal
Yeah, I think they're the
society.
people who would have the most drastic positive change in their lives.
Yeah, yeah, that's very true. Um, and since Lebanon is still quite conservative even till this day,
Yeah, there are actually laws in place that discriminate against people from the LGBT.
and the people themselves, they're still quite
Yeah,
conservative.
people
The
here aren't, as much as they make it seem that we're a country that has 18 different religions or sects, even though I can't even name 18 different sects in this country, right? Or
yeah,
maybe five main ones or seven, I don't know. But they just like to say that oh, in this small country of 5 billion, 6 million people, there are 18 different religions or sects, but they're really not accepting. And I think this is such an
it,
outdated statement
it- uh,
because countries
it's
from
not outdated.
it is outdated.
We're just a bunch of tribes and clans that are shoved in together into one border. So
um, honestly, when you look at other countries, let's say in Europe or the US, they don't even have these conversations that we're a country of 18 different sects. They just like,
I'm sure there are more than 18 sects in the U.S.
yeah, for sure,
18
exactly.
religions and sects.
Yeah, that's the thing. People don't, we just like to throw that out here because maybe it was more popular to say among countries of the Arab world. I think among the Arab world, we're one of the more diverse countries,
Yeah,
right?
definitely, for
Yeah.
sure.
So I think it applies for the Arab world, but nowhere beyond that.
So since people like to say that Lebanon is very diverse, however, even though we are diverse, I think diversity is one of the reasons why we have it is difficult to accept each other. We've had many, let's say, problems throughout
Yeah,
history.
many
Wars also fought.
wars, and there's a the political outlook of the political identity of this country is very very heterogeneous. So even the identity of a typical Lebanese person, one person will say, "Yeah, I'm Arab." One person say, "I'm we're not Arab, we're Phoenician." One person will say,
We're Lebanese, basically.
"Lebanese." Yeah,
So even there's also like there is no what's it called
agreement or
agreement on what we are and what we want to be.
yeah.
So some people might find it easier to leave this country which doesn't know in of itself doesn't know what it is, you know.
True, true. It's a country with
The
a very
confusion,
vague identity, I'd say.
a
Very
very
vague
vague
identity.
identity, very conflicting
And vague
identities.
borders as well.
Yeah, true. So I guess there is merit to why people hate Lebanon so much, but the whole conversation that we're trying to have here is just be careful when you want to leave this country. It's not all rainbows and sunshine on the other side. It's not greener
Yeah.
on the other side. Sometimes it's more difficult. Try as much as possible to surround yourself with Lebanese people outside, surround yourself with family
Or
if you
just
can.
people you belong with, I'd
Yeah,
say.
also people that who you belong with in order to make the transition easier. And for people like me who actually want to come back to this country after they've finished their getting experience outside or getting their education outside, um, work as hard as you can here and try to make a good living for yourself, make a decent living for yourself.
And build connections.
Yeah, definitely build connections. But I'm the one who advocates for coming back to Lebanon and trying to fix the whole mess that we're in instead of leaving and never coming back. I know it's very difficult. I know it's bleak. Do they say bleak?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
The outlook is bleak.
yeah,
Especially today since the 1 USD black market rate reached 40,000 Lebanese lira.
yeah.
For
This
those of you
is
who don't know, it was 1,500 lira 2 years ago.
two and a half years
Two and a half
ago. Yeah, time is passing by very quickly.
Yeah.
So, I think we touched on very important topics today.
And we will touch more on topics. We don't want to digress too much today. But what we want to let you know is we will be bringing guests in, and these guests will be of varying social backgrounds, very, very interesting people who have very unique stories.
All right. Thank you everyone
It's a
for
pleasure having you guys. Take
thank you
care.
for tuning in. We'll see you perhaps next week. I think we're gonna do weekly episodes hopefully.
Yeah, that's the goal.
All right. See you next time, guys. Ciao.